This show is sponsored by Liquid IV. Okay, you know, as I have not stopped talking about it, that my goal for myself this year is to get 10,000 steps a day. And thank you for asking. It's actually going really well. And one thing that I have taken note of as I've gotten to work with people and know people in the fitness and nutrition field is like my favorite trainers, they'll have me do one thing, but I don't start a new habit until the first one is on lock. And now that my 10,000 steps are on lock, the next thing I'm trying to add in is close to 100 ounces of water. Do I ever get there? Meh. I get close, but I get even closer with Liquid IV because it gives you triple the hydration. So it's like up to 3 times the hydration. You take their yummy flavors and 16 ounces of water. It kind of is a little variety, you know, the spice of life in my drinking water routine. So break the mold on your own ritual. Just one stick is 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drink. And so you're going to make that water you're drinking count for more. Again, I don't know if the science is sciencing, but I do know that it has 8 essential vitamins and nutrients. It's always non-GMO, vegan, gluten-free, dairy-free, soy-free. Woohoo! So embrace your ritual with extraordinary hydration from Liquid IV. Get 20% off your first order of Liquid IV when you go to liquidiv.com and use code AWESOME at checkout. Yes, that's 20% off your first order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code AWESOME at liquidiv.com.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. From your morning podcast to your afternoon playlist, State Farm knows you personalize your entire day. And that's why State Farm helps you personalize your insurance with the State Farm Personal Price Plan. It offers coverage options that help protect what you care about most at an affordable price just for you. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Prices vary by state. Options selected by customer. Availability and eligibility may vary.
Join us on a journey, you glorious human, to see yourself clearly and feel a little more awesome than you did before. It's Awesome with Allison. Welcome to Girlfriend Therapy and our official setup with my official co-host. I'd like to introduce you to my girlfriend and yours, Wits Tits. Whitney is one of my girlfriends. We've known each other for
since 2005.
You're using dates,
Yeah.
man. You're using dates.
Oh.
Okay, this is Girlfriend Therapy because you can lie to your therapist and you can lie to yourself, but you can't lie to me. Or you can, but I don't know why you would want to. So I want to do a segment because Whitney is in a phase of life that I think a lot of people, a lot of our girlfriends might be in, where she is recently, freshly divorced. And so I've been like screaming, dying. My whole life has changed over Whitney being on the apps. You're not like my first friend on the apps, but it's anyway, we've got a whole fresh perspective because we've got old Whit here. And Whitney, you were just tell me your fun fact you were telling me earlier.
I heard very short drive over here. I was listening to Wait, Don't Tell Me on NPR. And the fun fact that they were sharing as part of like a limerick or something. And the answer to the limerick was that women are going to clubs dousing themselves and spraying themselves in glitter so that men who are married will leave them alone.
Let's give it up for the glitters.
Best use of glitter.
Best use of glitter.
I would even do that.
Well, you know, I've got that eye glitter and that lip glitter that you can borrow.
I have borrowed.
And it gets everywhere.
Yeah. But like, I imagine them looking like the troll from Trolls.
The sparkly troll. Diamond.
That's not the right name.
It doesn't matter, but it's the
just
troll.
doused.
Yeah.
As like a very clear sign to men.
Yeah.
If you're seeing someone,
Yeah.
don't even come near me. Warning, I'm dangerous.
Yeah. Thanks so much for sharing that fun fact. Okay, we have the best question that I'm so excited to listen to. We've got our hotline up and running. Please please, we're here for you. We're your girlfriends. Please call our toll-free hotline. I actually have no idea if it's toll-free. It's a Google number, whatever that does. Let's listen. Let's listen.
All right, Allison, let's do this. I need some advice. My name is Elle. I just lost my job, which was all of my income, and I'm kind of freaking out. I feel like maybe there's a blessing in here in some way that this is an opportunity to do my own business, which is something I've been wanting to do for a long time. But the reality is I don't have enough confidence or belief in myself that it will work. And so I feel like when I do that, then of course I don't do the things I want to do or should do to get my business going. And so I'm just curious about how I can get my courage up to do it. I want to do a personal training business. The problem is I'm someone in a larger body, and I feel like that's going to be judged and criticized, and people will not look past that. And I'm sure that's probably some of my own story, but I need some girlfriend therapy. So what do you got? Thanks so much. I appreciate you.
Don't you love Elle so much?
Yeah.
I'm already obsessed with girlfriend therapy.
I know.
I'm so
that
obsessed.
Was a really good voicemail.
I know.
Okay.
I loved the tone in Elle's voice where she's like, okay, let's do this. First of all, I'm so sorry that you lost your job. That sucks. Like, that sucks. That makes you feel like a loser. And you're not a loser.
It's scary.
Yeah, you're not a loser.
Yeah.
Okay, so if Elle were here, these are the things I would ask Elle. I would say, how much money do you need every month? I would ask Elle if she's supporting herself. If she's supporting, Elle, are you supporting yourself? Are you supporting some children? Because if Elle was making money from doing personal coaching, which I'm not sure if she is or isn't, if she already had that income source set up, I'd be like, yes, let's go into this. Let's count on this. But because she doesn't already have that income source set up, or let's say she doesn't, and then let's add in that she also needs to provide an amount of money, and it's like a really big number, that's like so harsh on yourself. It's almost setting yourself up to not be able to succeed. Why would we do that? Because it gets to reinforce the story that she's not qualified to do this, that she's not good enough to do this. So I would just like have some checks and balances there with like how much pressure, how high are the stakes? Because I've definitely walked around being like, I need to make $9,000 this month. And I just sit there and I'm like staring at the wall and I'm like, okay, how we're going to make this. Like literally you were there. I was like calling you. I'm like, I have to make $9,000 or we're going to have to file for bankruptcy. Right. And it's like the stakes are so high. So let's all just, there's no stress that will do you like the money stress, man. That money stress is so real. So the first thing I would have you do is take a deep breath and let's really realistically look at how much money you need to bring in each month. I'm saying that if you need an amount of money that is going to put so much stress on you, you're asking yourself to do how many things? Build your confidence, believe in yourself, start a new business, and not only start a new business, make that new business profitable within immediately. Within yesterday.
Yeah. Right? So if the situation is the amount that she needs every month is too high stakes.
Yeah.
Then
I would suggest finding a secure adjacent reoccurring something. And it might feel completely beneath you or whatever, but it's like you nanny for a couple of hours and you pick up maybe $100 extra bucks. Or if you need a couple $1,000, right? Maybe you drive Uber, maybe you do delivery, right? Like, so ideally you are looking for a job that allows you to still keep energy for yourself so you can put it into that job. But there's actually research and statistics around this where it's like, people who decide that they need to quit everything they're doing to go start something new are much less likely to succeed than people who start with the minimum viable product and slowly add in and then expand in time. I say this as somebody who, even with this podcast, was making it so high stakes that you and I weren't sitting down to record.
I didn't understand that.
Yeah, but
because it was high stakes for you.
It was super high stakes. And then also I was making it high stakes by believing I immediately need to come in and make it as successful as this other thing. So what I am saying is that the reason why we don't do the things we want to do is because the stakes are too high.
That's how I feel about a lot of things.
Right?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
so right now you're working on making your house feel how you want it to feel. You move to a new spot and you come over and I've like thrown up all this stuff on the walls and you're like, how are you getting this done? When I used to design a room, I made the stakes so high. It was like, what does this mean about me? What are people going to feel like? What is my aesthetic? What do I want to represent? What is my artistic point of view?
Yeah.
And I know you, and I know that you're probably doing a similar thing.
Yes. The walnut versus an oak, it says a lot. It's a big decision.
When in reality,
It doesn't matter.
It does not matter.
Yeah. Whatever I like is fine.
And I want to give a shout out to Gabrielle and Ben Blair, because they have a book. I think it's called The Kids Are All Right, or it's their new parenting book. And the concept of the parenting book is that we make the stakes so high for our kids that it's like, you have to make this basketball team or you're not going to get into college. The stakes are so friggin' high. And we do that with our kids so much. And I've been applying it in lots of areas of my life where I'm like, how am I making this impossible for myself? And so back to Elle, we need you to do your personal training in a bigger body.
When she said the problem is I'm in a larger body, I was like, what problem? I want a personal trainer in a larger body. I can't imagine anything better for that space than a woman in a larger body.
Right?
It would be scary because of rejection, but like, let's revolutionize that space because it's not a great space.
And here's the thing, Elle. I've had so many friends who work with me and they're like, you should do this. And I look at them and I'm like, I know it's fun to imagine me going and doing the big, bold thing, but I'm the one who has to try to go to sleep at night afterwards.
Yeah.
Right? And so like, I have had to also protect myself in a way where I'm like, it's so fun to let Allison run along and see what crazy things she's going to do. But then like the real reels, like Whitney or Eric, like the real reels then have to sit with me afterwards. And so I say that to you, Elle, to acknowledge, girlfriend, to acknowledge that it's easy for us to say, yes, in your bigger body. But one of the reasons we don't want to film this is because we're both like, let's not. We're in larger bodies than we've been in before. Right.
Or that we feel portrays success and
that's what it is.
Value.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it is very, very hard to not let it get to your head. So let's say Elle doesn't have like huge high stakes money to be earned immediately, or let's say that she does. And I'm giving you permission, Elle, to go and get income in something that doesn't also have you questioning yourself every 5 seconds, because that's too much pressure. It's too much pressure to need to make money and need to show up in this new way. It's too much. And so get yourself some reoccurring income however you can, because that money stress is a real thing. And then so compassionately, we say delusional compassion. We bring in this delusional compassion of, I am nurturing and taking care of myself. The world needs people with my perspective to do this work. That's it. That's all. That's the only permission you're giving yourself. And then from a real brass tacks tactic, the way that I would go about building up clientele, well, gosh, book a power hour, girl. Let's get on the horn. But like, I mean, because there's so many different ways, because it's like, do you want to work with people one-on-one? Do you want to provide content online? Do you want to be a content creator? Which is it? Do you feel like you have to be a content creator in order to be successful as an in-person trainer? Because that's actually not true. I'm just preemptively answering all the questions I always
Keep
get.
going.
Right?
You're on a roll.
Because is it making sense?
Yeah.
What about what I just said doesn't make sense or isn't clear? If you're Elle, you be Elle. Embody Elle.
Mm-hmm. Got it.
I have my hand on my crystal ball. What questions does Elle have?
Okay, so
With my
my
hand on my crystal
question as
ball, it
L
feels like
is,
I'm
wait,
channeling
so
from
what
beyond
do
the
I
grave.
do first?
Good. Okay, so what you do first, Elle, is you take a deep breath. And then we get really, I know, this is shocking coming from me. We get really pragmatic, practical, and realistic and grounded with what needs to happen. And for me, that's how much money do I actually need to make and how quickly do I need to make that money? What are the actual stakes?
Okay, so now I know that.
Okay.
Let's say I have that amount.
Okay, so
yeah.
so depending on if she has used this as a revenue stream in the past or not, because is she asking herself to start from ground zero or is she asking herself to start from a few stepping blocks up?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And if you are asking yourself to start from ground zero, then you need to start from ground zero, which is not expecting yourself to be able to replace a full-time income
Yeah.
with a coaching business that you started yesterday. I go there because I've spent the last 3 years doing one-on-one calls with people and being in those positions myself more than I've ever been before, where there's not just so much momentum carrying me that things are just moving along and things are just working. And
Yeah.
it's like, oh, this is why people were asking me those questions. But Elle, I am going to say this. The way that you are going to make this successful is by having that delusional compassion. And one of the steps that I'm practicing for myself that I'm going to invite you into is notice when you are judging yourself and your body and why you're not qualified, and don't add more judgment to the judgment. What is that going to do? It's going to help you decide if the story that you're telling yourself about your body, your qualifications, and your ability to do the work, the mission, the job that you want to do, by noticing the judgment, you're going to notice the story. Because that's all it is a story.
Narrative.
It's a narrative. That's
Yeah.
it. Do you know what I think would be so cool? Is to help people rewrite their story.
Because your
come.
story gets to be whatever you delusionally want it to be so that it serves you best.
Yes.
Yeah. And curiosity
Yes.
is, I think, the way to get there.
Right? I'm glad you brought that up because instead of the judgment, we're bringing in curiosity. So let's transfer that judgmental energy into curious energy, because curiosity is very
Neutral.
I want to say neutral and objective. Yeah, like neutral, objective. Like you're sitting back and you're observing it and you're going like, is this narrative really serving me? Like I was joking with Whitney, like I'm saying, I got a book deal. I had all my dreams come true and I still felt really bad and nothing made me feel good. The end. Good luck getting your dreams out. And then I was like listening back to myself and I was like, this is an effed up story, Allison. I believe no amount of outside validation is going to make you feel any different in the long run. I do believe that, but I also am like, the way that I'm telling this story is not actually serving me, anybody.
Debbie Downer.
It's such a downer. And it's fine. But I was able to ask myself, because I have been practicing this, is that really the story that I believe about myself? Do I really believe I was just this manic, crazy chaos who just came in with some dumb luck and built something and was a wrecking ball? This is the kind of the story I tell myself along the way.
That's wild.
That's why I've been checking my narrative. That's why I need delusional compassion. And so, Elle, what that delusional compassion is going to do for you, inviting yourself to notice the judgment without judgment, bringing in curiosity around the judgment, because all you can do to start a business is experiment. You're throwing spaghetti noodles at the wall and you're seeing which one sticks.
And I'm going to say something I learned from you, which is minimum viable product.
Oh, man, I love talking about an MVP.
If I were starting a new business, I would be asking myself, what's the minimum viable product?
Yes.
Which means...
Well, it depends what she wants. But for Elle, the minimum viable product would be starting to share either her personal tips for the ways she likes to bring healthy living in her life, either through newsletter, social media, YouTube, I would do whichever media source you can do without having an aneurysm over. So instead of thinking, I have to learn TikTok and it's the only way to be successful, you go, no, I know how to use YouTube. I know how to use Facebook. I know how to use Instagram. You pick the one you know how to use and you just start showing up. And then you just have to keep doing it until something works. And you'll be like, why did it work? I need to control the universe. No, it just sometimes it works, period. That's the only way you're going to know what works is to try a million things.
Yeah. I will never forget, and I've used this in a lot of situations in my life when I was trying to figure out if I was going to get divorced or not.
Oh, yeah.
You gave me some scenarios of like moving forward in a certain direction and picking one. And your advice was whatever happens with that decision is just going to provide you information. That's how I look at things failures, weird choices I've made that have bad consequences. I'm like, oh, that was information. About a variety, lots of information. I'm trying to gather information instead of looking at things as the right or wrong way to go.
I love that.
Thanks to you.
Well, I like.
And I've shared that advice with other people, and I did not give you credit.
You know
but
what?
I'm giving you credit now.
You don't have to give me credit. Hey, thanks so much for listening to this episode of Girlfriend Therapy. We've got our hotline. You just call, you leave a message. Wits Tits is here. I'm here. If we want, we'll bring in other people. Only time will tell. And we love you, and I want to leave you with this. Only you can be you, and we need all of you. Ooh, yes, we do. We need a girlfriend therapy, like, girlfriend therapy, girlfriend therapy, girlfriend therapy.
Keep workshopping that.